Welcome, SPHR candidates, to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Our mission today, well, it's to really master total rewards, compensation strategy, pay structures, and crucially, the U.S. laws that govern it all.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just about memorizing facts for the exam, right? It's
Yeah.
about building that strategic framework you need to be an effective HR leader.
Exactly. We're here to cut through some of the complexity. We want to offer not just definitions, but you know, unique insights, real-world applications. We
Yeah.
really want you to understand the why behind these strategic compensation decisions. Make the content stick.
Absolutely. Think of this as your shortcut to integrating these, well, frankly, vital concepts. We've distilled insights from expert study guides, from research to give you a clear, hopefully engaging, and memorable overview.
Let's do it.
So let's dive in. Okay, SPHR candidates know total rewards is way more than just the paycheck.
Right.
It's the complete value proposition. It covers direct compensation salary, incentives, plus all those indirect rewards. Things like health benefits, recognition, growth opportunities, even culture counts.
Oh, absolutely. Culture is huge.
Yeah.
And the real strategic puzzle here for an HR leader isn't just listing those things, it's optimizing the mix.
Optimizing.
Yeah. A key insight, or maybe a common pitfall, is how often companies miscalibrate their total reward strategy. What attracts a Gen Z tech grad who really wants work-life balance?
Right.
That might be totally different from what retains a seasoned executive who's looking at stock options and leadership development.
Makes sense.
So designing a package that genuinely drives attraction, motivation, and retention for your specific talent pool, that's the strategic imperative. It avoids wasted budget, avoids, suboptimal outcomes.
Okay, so if total rewards is the strategic what, then the compensation philosophy must be the why.
That's it.
What's a common, real-world pitfall companies hit when they try to define this why, their guiding principles for pay?
Well, the biggest one is probably either not having an explicit written philosophy at all, or maybe having one that's just completely out of sync with the company's actual business strategy or its culture.
Ah, the disconnect.
Yeah, exactly. A well-articulated philosophy, it answers those critical questions. Are we going to lead, match, or lag the market? How are we rewarding performance versus skills versus seniority? How do we ensure we're fair internally but still competitive externally?
Right.
Making it explicit gives you consistency. It prevents those random, maybe biased pay decisions. It supports the employee value proposition, the EVP, and it helps balance attracting talent with controlling costs.
So it really anchors everything.
It does.
Yeah.
Remember, compensation is a strategic investment. It's not just an expense line item. It should drive the business outcomes you want.
Like an innovation-focused company might need aggressive pay to get top creatives.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Aggressive pay, maybe incentives. While, say, a nonprofit with tighter budgets might emphasize its mission, maybe richer benefits instead of top-dollar salary.
Got it. That foundational understanding, total rewards, and the philosophy, it really sets the stage for the next big question. How do you position yourself in the market? Okay, so with that foundation in place, the real strategic dilemma for HR leaders pops up. Where do you actually position your compensation against competitors? It's not just picking one lead, match, lag. It feels like it's a calculated gamble, right? Directly impacting your ability to win that talent war.
It really is. It's a statement of strategic intent. Are you aiming to pay more, about the same, or less than other employers for similar jobs?
So let's break down the implications of leading, matching, or lagging.
Okay. Each approach, it has distinct benefits, risks, and strategic context that, well, you as an SPHR professional, you have to weigh carefully.
Let's start with meet the market, the match strategy, aiming for the market median, the 50th percentile. That seems safe.
It is common, yeah. It's often seen as the safe middle ground. It keeps you generally competitive, helps control costs without, dramatically over or underspending.
Yeah.
But the practical insight here is that while it's safe, you're probably not going to stand out in a really fierce labor market.
Right, you're just matching.
Exactly. It allows budget for other total rewards elements. Maybe great flexible schedules, a strong culture, but in a hot market. You might not snag those true superstars, and you could find yourself constantly playing catch-up.
Okay, then there's the opposite, the lead the market strategy. Intentionally paying above competitors, maybe targeting the 75th percentile or even higher. Sounds great for attracting top talent, obviously, but are there times this could actually backfire?
Oh, absolutely. Leading the market is fantastic for getting a deep pool of high-quality candidates, and it can significantly cut turnover costs. That's a big plus.
Yeah.
But it's undeniably the most expensive strategy. The backfire risk, and this is often overlooked, is creating an unsustainable cost structure.
Yeah.
What if that top talent doesn't deliver proportionally higher return?
Ooh, good point.
Or you might accidentally foster a culture of entitlement if that generous pay isn't clearly explicitly linked to demanding performance expectations. Think major tech companies, they often lead for critical engineering roles,
Right.
but they also demand extremely high productivity in return.
And finally, the lag the market strategy. Purposefully paying below market averages, maybe around the 25th percentile. Nonprofits, some startups do this.
Yeah.
How do they even make that work? How do they balance the obvious downside of lower pay?
They have to lean heavily on robust, non-monetary rewards. A really powerful mission, maybe exceptional job security, sometimes generous health plans or pensions, or for startups, significant equity.
So compensating in other ways.
Exactly. But the cons are significant. You're going to struggle with attraction and retention, higher turnover, potential morale issues.
Yeah.
It's tough. A critical insight for you SPHR candidates is recognizing when a lag strategy is failing.
How do you spot that?
Persistent high vacancy rates, high turnover, even with those other attractive factors. That's a clear signal. It means the market just won't bear that low pay level anymore, and you need to reassess the strategy.
It's not always just one strategy across the board, though, is it? Companies can mix it up.
Oh, definitely. Hybrid strategies are common. You might lead for critical, hard-to-fill roles, but match or even lag for others where the talent pool is deeper.
Makes sense. And how do HR pros actually know where they stand? How do you measure this?
We measure it. You use market pay data from salary surveys. A key metric, and this is crucial for the exam, is the market index or ratio.
Okay, market index.
Yeah. It's simply your company's average pay for a specific role divided by the market average pay for that same role.
So like company pay, market pay.
Exactly. A ratio around 1.0 means you're matching. Above 1.0, you're leading. Below 1.0, you're lagging. You need to be comfortable with that calculation and what it means.
Okay, so we've figured out our external market position. Now let's build the internal scaffolding, how we structure pay fairly and consistently inside the organization.
Right. And having a robust, well-designed internal pay structure is just fundamental.
Why is that so critical?
It provides a logical framework, pay ranges that correspond to job levels or grades. This is essential for maintaining both internal equity fairness inside the company and external competitiveness. It stops pay decisions from being just, arbitrary.
Let's break down the key parts then. A pay grade. That's like a level.
Yeah, it's a grouping of jobs that the company views as having similar value.
Yeah.
And each grade has an associated salary range.
The range being the minimum, midpoint, and maximum pay for jobs in that grade.
Correct. And the midpoint is often pegged to the market rate, maybe that 50th percentile we talked about for someone fully competent in that role. Then you have pay range spreads.
The difference between min and max.
Yet calculated as max-min, usually expressed as a percentage, typically around 40–60%. Higher level exec jobs often have wider spreads, maybe 60% or more, allowing for greater pay differentiation based on performance or experience.
And midpoint progression.
That's the percentage difference in midpoints between successive grades. You want a meaningful pay bump when someone gets promoted, right? So progressions are usually like 5–10% for lower levels, increasing maybe to 15–20% for executive levels.
Now, the structure itself. We hear about traditional pay structures, lots of narrow grades versus broad banding, which uses fewer, much wider bands. What's the core trade-off there for HR?
The core trade-off usually boils down to control versus flexibility.
Okay.
Traditional structures with many grades offer very precise control, clear guidance on progression, but they can be rigid. Employees can hit the top of their pay range max out without a promotion, which can really frustrate high performers.
I can see that.
Broad banding, on the other hand, uses maybe just a few very wide bands, sometimes 100%, even 200% spreads, covering multiple traditional job levels.
Wow, that's wide.
It is. It offers much greater flexibility. Pay can grow within a band without needing a formal promotion. It can also simplify administration, fewer grades to manage.
What's the downside?
The challenge is maintaining internal equity. When you have very different jobs potentially falling into the same super wide band, ensuring fairness can be tricky.
Okay, so when you're actually administering these structures, a few key terms always pop up. Red circle rate.
That means an employee's pay is above the maximum of their assigned pay range.
And the opposite, green circle rate.
That's when an employee's pay is below the minimum of their range.
So what do you do about those?
Well, for a red circle rate, typical actions are freezing base pay increases until the range catches up to their salary, or maybe offering lump sum bonuses instead of actual salary hikes to reward performance without increasing the base.
Okay. And green circle.
For a green circle rate, you generally have to make an adjustment. Bring their pay up to at least the range minimum. This is often driven by pay equity concerns or potential legal issues.
Got it. And then the big one for the SPHR exam, compa ratio.
Ah, yes, the compa ratio.
Uh-huh.
Definitely know this one cold. It's simply an employee's salary divided by the range midpoint.
Salary midpoint.
Yep. Expressed as a decimal or percentage. So a compa ratio of 1.0 or 100% means the employee is paid exactly at the midpoint. Below 1.0, they're below midpoint. Above 1.0, they're above.
And why is that so useful?
It's a vital tool to quickly gauge where an individual's pay sits relative to the market target or the intended pay level for their role and grade.
Yeah.
Helps manage pay equity and budget. Know the formula and how to interpret it.
Okay, let's make this real. So imagine Maria, she's been with the company 10 years, making $55,000. Then a new hire comes into the same role, starting at $54,000 because the market's hot. That's pay compression, isn't it?
That's exactly pay compression.
As an HR leader, that seems like a nightmare for morale. How do you proactively stop that from blowing up, maybe even creating legal risks, instead of just reacting when Maria complains?
You're right, pay compression where those pay differences shrink, despite experience or seniority differences, and its extreme form, pay inversion, where the new hire actually makes more.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch is right. They are morale killers. And they carry significant legal risks, especially if the compression disproportionately affects protected classes. They're often caused by those hot external markets driving up starting salaries, or minimum wage hikes, or even internal pay freezes that hold existing employees back.
So what's the proactive solution?
Regular pay equity audits are key. You need to look for these issues. Also, consistent reviews of your pay structure are the ranges keeping up with the market. And sometimes you need targeted equity adjustments for those longer-term employees to ensure their experience and performance are still being recognized financially. It's all about maintaining trust and avoiding those potential discrimination claims.
Okay, understanding the strategy, the structures, that's essential. But it's all built on a foundation of legal compliance, right?
Absolutely. You can't strategize if you're not legal.
And the SPHR exam, it definitely demands a solid grasp of the major U.S. federal laws influencing pay and benefits.
It does. And the bedrock, the absolute foundation, is the Fair Labor Standards Act, the FLSA.
Wage and hour law.
Exactly. It sets the federal minimum wage, still $7.25 an hour federally.
Yeah.
But remember, you always have to pay the highest applicable rate, whether it's federal, state, or local.
Good reminder.
And crucially, it mandates overtime pay. 1.5 times the employee's regular rate of pay for non-exempt employees for all hours worked over 40 in a work week.
And this is where that huge trap lies, the exempt versus non-exempt distinction. That whole salaried equals exempt myth is so persistent.
It is incredibly persistent and incredibly dangerous. Misclassifying someone leads to serious penalties, back pay. It's messy.
So what are the actual tests for exemption?
Okay, to qualify for exemption under the most common categories, executive, administrative, professional, computer, outside sales employees must meet both parts of a two-part test.
Both parts, okay.
First, the salary basis and level test. They have to be paid on a salary basis, meaning a predetermined fixed amount. Currently at least $684 per week federally, that isn't subject to reduction because of variations in the quality or quantity of work performed.
Fixed salary, minimum level, got it.
Now, Second, the duties test. Their primary job duties must meet specific criteria defined by the Department of Labor for one of those exempt categories. Just having the job title isn't enough. The actual duties control.
So salary level and duties, not just one or the other.
Correct. And remember, FLSA defines overtime based on the work week, not daily hours or weekends, unless a state law says otherwise. Oh, and FLSA also includes child labor restrictions.
Beyond FLSA, we have the Equal Pay Act, EPA, from 1963. This one specifically targets gender pay gaps.
Yes, specifically gender. The EPA requires men and women in the same establishment to be paid equally for performing substantially equal work.
Substantially equal, how is that defined?
It's based on 4 factors: skill, effort, responsibility, and working conditions. The jobs don't have to be identical, but substantially equal across those factors.
And if there is a difference in pay between men and women doing substantially equal work?
It must be justified by specific factors other than sex. Things like a valid seniority system, a merit system, a system measuring earnings by quantity or quality production, or any other factor other than sex.
And if a disparity is found and it's not justified?
Critically, you must raise the pay of the lower paid person. You cannot lower the pay of the higher paid person to achieve equity under the EPA.
Okay, EPA is gender specific.
Yeah.
What about other kinds of pay discrimination?
That's where broader laws come in. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the ADEA for age discrimination over 40, the ADA for disability discrimination. These prohibit pay discrimination based on race, color, religion, national origin, age, or disability, even if the jobs aren't substantially equal in the EPA sense.
And didn't the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act change things too?
Yes, absolutely. The Lilly Ledbetter Act basically says that each discriminatory paycheck resets the clock, the statute of limitations for filing a claim. Before that, the clock started ticking when the initial discriminatory decision was made, which could be years earlier. This makes it much easier for employees to challenge ongoing pay discrimination.
Okay, besides FLSA and EPA Title VII, what are some quick, high-impact takeaways from other regulations, like maybe the NLRA or Sarbanes-Oxley?
Sure. For the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act, a key thing for compensation is that employees generally have the right to discuss their wages and working conditions, pay secrecy policies. They can violate the NLRA. Plus, you're seeing many states now mandating salary range disclosure in job postings.
Transparency is growing.
Definitely. Then for executive compensation, Sarbanes-Oxley, SOX, and Dodd-Frank brought significant changes. Things like shareholder say on pay votes, CEO pay ratio disclosures. It pushed for greater transparency and accountability at the top.
And obviously, things like ERISA for benefits, ACA for health coverage, FMLA for unpaid leave, they're all part of that broader total rewards picture too.
Exactly. They all interact. The big insight here, compliance isn't just a defensive checklist. Proactive adherence, like doing pay equity audits before you're forced to, is actually a strategic pillar. It protects your employer brand and helps you avoid incredibly costly legal battles down the road.
So let's tie it all together. How do we connect all these pieces, the laws, the structures, the market positions, to actually achieve an organization's goals as an HR strategist?
It really comes down to explicitly linking compensation to the overall organizational strategy.
Can you give an example?
Sure. If you're that innovation-focused company we mentioned, your strategy dictates leading the market on comp, maybe offering lucrative stock options, probably using broad bands for role flexibility to attract and keep those key innovators.
Okay. And the cost leader.
A cost leadership company might deliberately choose to match or even lag the market on base pay, but focus heavily on efficiency-based incentives and maintain really tight control over the labor budget. The compensation strategy directly supports the business strategy.
It also reflects the culture, right? Performance versus entitlement.
Absolutely. Think about performance and pay decisions. A truly performance-driven culture will have bigger merit increases, substantial bonuses tied to results raises are earned, not just given out like clockwork. An entitlement-oriented culture might see more uniform, across-the-board raises, maybe more emphasis on long service rewards.
And the total rewards mix itself is a strategic choice.
Huge strategic choice. A startup might consciously offer lower cash, but much higher equity potential to attract talent willing to take that risk and build something. A stable, mature company might offer more cash and solid benefits. You craft the mix to attract the specific talent you need.
And geography, that's got to be a massive consideration now, especially with remote work booming.
Oh, absolutely huge. Market differentials adjusting pay based on geography or cost of labor are crucial and complex.
What are the big questions companies are grappling with there?
Well, the main one is, do you pay based on the job itself, regardless of location? Do you adjust pay based on the employee's remote location? Or do you pay based on the HQ's location? There's no single right answer, and companies are taking different approaches.
And communicating all this.
Communication is key. Clear, transparent communication about your pay philosophy, how decisions are made, that builds trust. It maximizes the motivational value of your compensation programs. And ultimately, remember that proactive compliance, like those pay equity audits, isn't just defense. It can be a strategic advantage. It avoids legal headaches and genuinely enhances your employer brand, making you an employer people want to work for.
Let's crystallize this with a real-world SPHR scenario. Imagine you're advising a fast-growing tech company. Their pay structure is super rigid, lots of narrow grades. It's making it hard to hire software developers, and the high performers feel stuck, like they've maxed out. What's your strategic HR recommendation?
Okay, good scenario. As an SPHR pro, I'd likely recommend a multi-pronged approach. First, strategically shift to a broader band structure, at least for those critical technical job families, to allow more flexibility and internal pay growth without needing constant promotions.
More flexibility, okay.
Second, Review and likely update the compensation philosophy.
Yep.
Maybe decide to consciously lead the market specifically for those key technical roles where talent is really scarce and critical to growth.
Target the lead strategy.
Exactly. Target it where it matters most. And third, crucially, ensure all these changes are implemented in full compliance with FLSA, EPA, and any relevant state laws. You don't want to fix one problem and create another legal one.
So it's about balancing that flexibility, fairness, cost control.
Precisely. All while making sure the compensation approach is strategically aligned with the company's aggressive growth objectives. That's the strategic HR contribution.
Okay, before we jump into some practice questions, let's quickly nail those SPHR gotchas, those common pitfalls that often trip up test takers. First up, the classic salaried versus exempt confusion.
Oh yeah, number one with a bullet. Remember, not all salaried employees are exempt from overtime. It is always about meeting both the salary basis test and the duties test. Always, always, always.
Got it. What's another one?
Overtime calculation. Remember, overtime is 1.5 times the regular rate of pay. And that regular rate isn't just the base hourly wage. It includes things like non-discretionary bonuses, shift differentials, commissions. This has to be calculated correctly. And it applies only to hours worked over 40 in a work week, not necessarily paid time off hours.
Okay, rate is a rate, hours worked. What else?
Independent contractor versus employee misclassification. You absolutely cannot avoid FLSA obligations just by labeling someone an independent contractor if their actual working relationship functions like an employer one. The economic realities test is key there.
And the EPA scoop that gets confused too, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Remember, the Equal Pay Act, EPA, only addresses gender-based pay discrimination for substantially equal work, discrimination based on race, age, religion, etc. That falls under different laws, primarily Title VII, ADEA, EDA. Don't mix them up.
Good distinction. And one last gotcha.
A big one is non-mandated benefits. Many things people think are required by law actually aren't federally mandated. Things like severance pay, paid vacation time, paid holidays, even requiring smaller employers to provide health insurance. Generally, there's no federal law requiring these. State or local laws might, but don't assume it's a federal mandate on the exam.
All right, excellent recap of the pitfalls. Now it's time to put your knowledge to the test. We've got 2 SPHR-style scenario-based challenges, just like you might encounter on the actual exam. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, question 1. ACME Corp targets the 50th percentile for base salary as a match strategy. But they're really struggling to fill IT roles and seeing rising IT turnover, even after trying to offer about 10% above their typical salaries for those roles. What strategy adjustment would best address this situation? Your options are A. Maintain the current philosophy but add more benefits or PTO specifically for IT. B. Shift to a lead the market strategy, targeting maybe the 75th percentile specifically for those critical IT roles. C. Adopt a lag the market strategy, 25th percentile, and try to hire less experienced IT staff. D. Keep base pay at the 50th percentile, but introduce a special IT-only pay-for-performance bonus plan. Okay, take a second. The correct answer here is B, shift to a lead-the-market strategy's 75th percentile for critical IT roles.
Yeah, the rationale is pretty clear. ACME's existing match strategy, even with that little 10% bump, it's just not cutting it for IT talent in their market.
The turnover proves it.
Exactly. The high vacancy rates and turnover are screaming that they need to be more aggressive. Leading the market specifically for these critical roles directly addresses the problem by acknowledging the strong market demand and making them truly competitive. Option A might help slightly, but probably isn't enough if base pay is the main issue. C is counterproductive, and D, while potentially helpful, might not fix the core issue of attracting talent if the base pay isn't competitive enough to begin with. Plus, it adds complexity.
All right, question 2. A company has a policy where they dock the pay of any exempt employee who works less than 40 hours in a given week. For example, if someone takes a day off but has no PTO left, the company deducts 15th of their workly salary. Which statement is too true E regarding this policy? A, it's acceptable practice. B, it jeopardizes the employee's exempt status under FLSA. C, it's allowed, but only if the deduction is taken from the employee's future PTO accrual, not their salary. D, it's acceptable for executive exempt employees, but not for professional exempt employees. Okay. Think FLSA rules.
Yep.
The correct answer is B. It jeopardizes the employee's exempt status under FLSA.
This goes right back to that salary basis test we talked about. Under FLSA, docking an exempt employee's fixed salary for absences of less than a full work week is generally prohibited with very few specific exceptions, like FMLA leave, first last week of employment, or discipline for major safety rule violations.
So taking off for a day.
taking off for a partial day or even a full day if it doesn't fit one of those narrow exceptions, and docking their salary for it. That violates the salary basis requirement. An exempt employee must generally receive their full salary for any week in which they perform any work. Now, deducting from an employee's accrued PTO bank for that time off, that's usually okay. But docking the actual salary, big FLSA risk. It could mean that employee, and maybe others subject to the same policy, is actually non-exempt and owed overtime.
Phew. Okay, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. Total rewards, compensation strategy, pay structures, that vital U.S. legal landscape.
We really did.
Yeah.
But hopefully, listeners can remember those core concepts. Lead, match, lag for market positioning. The two-part test, salary basis, and duties test for FLSA exemption. And definitely that compa ratio formula, salary divided by midpoint. Those tools, and really the strategic mindset we've been discussing, that's what will serve you incredibly well, not just on your SPHR exam, but throughout your entire HR career.
Absolutely. This deep dive, hopefully, has armed you with critical insights and maybe prompts you to think. How might understanding these nuances change how you approach your own career, or how you advise an organization on attracting and retaining talent in this crazy evolving market?
Yeah.
Keep connecting those tactical details, the formulas, the laws, to the bigger strategic picture.
That's strategic thinking. That's honestly the real key to success, both on the exam and in practice. Keep exploring these topics, keep questioning, keep applying these concepts, and you'll be really well prepared for whatever compensation challenges come your way.
You've tackled a really crucial, complex area with us today. We genuinely wish you the very best on your SPHR journey.
Good luck.
Until next time, keep diving deep.